Live from KTIV, this is SportsFource Extra.
Welcome back, folks, to the Week 3 edition of SportsFource Extra. I'm Jason Moeller in Siouxland. Once again, I have the honor of going through the highlights underneath the Friday night lights with all of you. And tell you what, nothing gets people going like an old-fashioned rivalry, whether or not, let me find you. Here we go. A little crab walk here. Whether or not the rivalry is built on respect or a little something else, anytime two rivals meet up, it's sure to be a good time, and that's certainly the case with the Cruise-Raider rivalry, between Sioux City East and Bishop Heelan. Both teams enter this matchup at 2-0 on the season, both ranked by the Radio Iowa polls, and both teams would love to establish Sioux City supremacy with a win tonight. Heelan, they lead the all-time series 52-33-2, and they honored the latest Hall of Pride inductees at half. Our highlights begin in the second quarter, though. Cal Jepson trying to evade pressure, but he'll be sacked. Ball pops out. This is recovered by Max Asif, and the Crusaders take over possession. On that drive, Heelan gives to Kayston Thomas, and the future Iowa Hawkeye will drag a Black Raider into the end zone with him. Heelan leads 13-7. But on the ensuing kickoff, here is Chris Ford, and watch Chris Ford go. The junior will practically go unscathed all the way to the house here for East, and they now lead by 1. Heelan, they're going to try a field goal here. It's blocked, but pay attention. Kayston Thomas recovers the block kick. He'll take this thing to the outside and in for the score, and it's 21-14 Heelan now. On the ensuing kick, did I introduce you to Chris Ford? Well, he's going to pick this thing up at the 1, head for the near sideline. Ford makes a man miss here. He's going to break a couple ankles there. Now he's got himself a seam. How is this kid still on his feet? Two Crusaders will catch Ford at the 45, but the kid's like a Model T. He does not stop running. Chris Ford with his second kick return for a touchdown of the night, and once again we're tied at 21. Third quarter, Cal Jepson, he's going to fire to the far side here after running away from pressure, and we've got a tip drill. It's going to be caught by Grant Whitcomb, and the kid is heading the other way. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. The doctor's on his way. This is a house call for Bishop Heelan. They take a 28-21 lead. This game's currently in overtime. Heelan leading 35-28. Over at Elwood Olson Stadium, Sioux City West looking for their second win in a row as they battle Sioux City North. Top of the game, Jack Mogensen hands off to Ian Laughlin. Laughlin slips his way through the defense and into the end zone for the first touchdown of the night. Stars lead by 7. North looking to keep that momentum going. However, the Wolverine defense stops them in their tracks. Ball pops loose. They'll turn the ball over there on downs, actually, but later on, Stars Mogensen hands off to Liam Beacom. He'll bring it in. They lead by 14. Stars, they keep on flying. Mogensen tosses to Nolan White. White on the screenplay. Tell you what, that's a screenplay good enough for an Oscar right there. North into the end zone. They win this one 35-7. 7th-ranked Sergeant Bluff Luton protecting home turf against Council Bluffs' Thomas Jefferson. Going into the third quarter, Warriors' Isaiah Jervik. He'll hand off to Mason Vandekop. Vandekop slips through and even slips from the cameraman momentarily. He'll bring in a touchdown. Warriors, they lead by 49 now, and they look to keep that momentum. Jervik hands off to Vandekop again, and Vandekop will once again score. Later on, SBL, if you think it's going to change, it's not. They're going to hand the ball off to Vandekop. They'll fake out the cameraman again, and once again, Vandekop will score a touchdown. Sergeant Bluff Luton, they win this one 62-14. In North Sioux City, Dakota Valley, and a brouhaha with the Lakota Tech. First play from scrimmage, we got a fumble. Jace Hutchinson falls on it, and it's DV ball now. First play from scrimmage for DV. They give to Bennett Lucan. Lucan sheds a tackle. He'll make his way over to the outside, and the senior will rumble on into the end zone. That makes it 7-0 DV. Tatanka trying to respond. Ben Yazzie takes the snap. He's got to evade pressure immediately. He'll fire. Ball's tipped up into the air and down into the hands of Jack Weiss. And the senior weaves his way in and out of traffic into the end zone. DV wins this one 58-0. Back in the Hawkeye State, the reigning 2A state champions West Lyon. They were matched up against a Unity Christian team hungry for their first win of the season. Out to Lyon County we go for what could be a slugfest here. Evan Hildring, though, he was going to make sure it wasn't a slugfest, though. Hildring, great night running for the Wildcats. He'll find the end zone there. Keep things rolling here. Unity Christian with the ball. However, might not be for long. Wildcats with a big strip right there, and it's going to be West Lyon ball as it's recovered by Jared Selesky later on here. Wildcats looking to make him pay. They'll take the snap eventually, and they'll fire to River Kramer for a touchdown. West Lyon, they win this thing 35-0. Into hole we go. Second-ranked OABCIG looking to go 3-0 as they take on Boyden Whole Rock Valley. We'll start here. Caden Van Skeppen. He's going to unleash a long one over to Leighton Snutjer. And the Falcons, the Nighthawks with a big gain there. Defense, though, for the Falcons, they did their best to hold back. However, Nighthawks with a little middle screen. They're going to be brought down, though. Not a whole lot there for them. However, the BHRV defense, they were on a roll as well. OABCIG looking for an answer. This play, quarterback rolls out. He'll fire. But this is going to be picked off by Caden Van Skeppen on the tip. Van Skeppen, he'd also find the end zone for the Nighthawks eventually in this one. That brings them up to 20 points on the game. Here would be the run from Van Skeppen right there. And the Nighthawks, they pick up the win in this one, 20-6. Cherokee ranked 10th in the latest polls. They're looking to prove they belong there as they take on Ridgeview. Opening play from scrimmage, Jackson Paulsrud slings this over the middle to Wyatt Ludvigsen. Ludvigsen makes a cut near the sideline. He'll eventually be dragged down out of bounds. Same possession though. Braves. They're going to be the first team to strike in this one. Paulsrud pitches it over to Blake Lavelle, and Lovell on the speed option. He'll do the rest. He'll take this thing to the house, and it's 7-0 Braves. Now, if we're showing a kickoff, something's got to happen. Actually, we're not showing a kickoff. We're showing a run up the middle. Look at this. A second touchdown carry. This one from 17 yards out. It's 14-0 Braves. Ridgeview finally gets the ball. However, Cherokee's defense suffocates the Raptors on this play. Cohen James fights through the interior of the line for the sack. Cherokee goes on to win 44-7. Our BVU game breakers, Joel Cooper and Lars Taylor, bring us highlights from Alta Aurelia and Pocahontas. Indians travel to Alta to take on the Warriors. Very run-heavy contest on the night for both offenses. However, defenses look sharp as well. First few drives of the game being scoreless. Only words to describe this game, smash mouth football. Both of these teams ran their offenses down the field, play by play. Defenses were ruthless. Pocahontas had a chance in the second quarter with the ball thrown in the end zone. However, this would be called incomplete. Scores at 0. Number 3 for the Warriors, Sam Center. A lot of carries in the first half. Driving Alta Aurelia down the field multiple times as he looks to continue his senior campaign. However, the Indians, the first ones to capitalize. 62-yard touchdown pass from Blake Booner to Colin Dreeth in the second. Indians take this one 7-6.
I'm Lola Christensen, the homecoming queen for Cherokee Braves, and SportsFource Extra will be right back.
Go Braves!